Welcome to Queens of WWE, episode 11. I'm your host, Kyle the Man Anthony, joined by my co host, CJP. CJ, what's going on, man?
What is going on, CVP from the EP show? We are live for Queens of WWE episode number 11. Glad to be back here with you, Kyle, as we are covering everything that's happened in the women's division over the last week. And on top of that, obviously a couple of women's matches coming up at NXT Heatwave. So, looking forward to diving in. Definitely one of my favorite shows of the week. So, can't wait to get started.
Yeah, for sure. So let's go over on SmackDown. We had Chelsea Green, Paige, Tiffany Stratton, the Fatal Influence backstage. Now they went, they've first time we see Paige since she got attacked at SummerSlam by Nikki Bella mainly. And so they were all of her backstage, and Tiffany Tiffany was being ejected in a way because she lost the U.S. Championship, and then Chelsea tried to help her out or whatever, but it didn't work out. Not work out, but just we clearly see where that's leading towards soon. Whenever Chelsea's cleared, with the turn from Tiffany, but Paige and JC Jane interacted with each other, and and it was made official for this coming Friday. That's going to be Paige and JC Jane for the U.S. Championship. And so, of course, SmackDown was taped. I don't know what happened, and I don't want to know what happened because I hate tape shows, but it is what it is. So, but this match happened on Friday. I would love to see Paige win and have some gold around her, but JC just won the title, and I don't, and she may be champion for a while anyway. So, the thing with Paige and Nikki Bella, that's still gonna end up becoming a thing whenever Nikki comes back, and she probably is gonna come here and interfere here because we know that just happened. So, you know, so either way, Paige is going to win, one or two. Um, but the destination clearly is for Paige and Nikki to have a feud. So it is what it is. But CJ, how you feel about this? How you feel about the backstage segment and the fact that we're getting this match here on Friday? What's your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I mean it's pretty interesting. I saw all over X, Nikki and I believe Paige as well. Also was talking about how we talked about it last week. How the Paige and Nikki segment from last week was cut from the show. And Nikki was talking about on Twitter how they may have to go back to learning like how they did things the old school way, where they had to kind of do everything through social media or stuff like that. But I was glad to see Paige finally back on TV and obviously involved in something with some substance. Obviously, she was giving Chelsea Green her flowers, but at the same time they were interrupted by Fatal Influence, which is ultimately setting up a U.S. Championship match with JC Jane. She just won the title. Obviously, this is one of the matches that we kind of talked about over the last couple of weeks that we wanted to see. This is the reason why I was so gung ho on JC winning that U.S. title, because this is the type of matches we can see. There's just so many baby faces over there for JC to face. At the end of the day, Nikki and Paige still have a score to settle. Ultimately, I don't know how it plays out, but I I would think we're going to get Nikki sooner rather than later. Hopefully it doesn't disrupt the outcome of the match, but I think ultimately JT can't drop the title this soon, and maybe they can get to that Nikki Paige match, and then obviously after that, then both of them can kind of move on to what's next for both of them. And Paige maybe can get back after JT at that point for that women's United States Championship.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. For sure. And like, say that whenever. whenever Nikki comes back, let's say they do the match at Sunday night's main event, maybe both of them will be in the ladder match. I could see multiple women who have issues to be in the ladder match, and then that will bleed into War Games too, probably. So not sure how that's going to play out for Survivor Series. A little too early for that, but I would be confident to say majority of these women who are in feuds with each other, probably some of them anyway, will end up in the ladder match in October. What place are you going to be at for Money to Bake? So can you see that happening? I know I didn't. I just thought about that just now. But how you feel about that scenario that could happen? For the ladder match in October.
Yeah, I mean, Paige hasn't really done much outside of, kind of being thrown into because of the Nikki injury with the tag titles, her and Brie. I still felt like did a phenomenal job with the championship that defended them against everybody that they could defend them against. So yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Paige is in the Money in the Bank match. Would I put her in my top 2 of winning it? Probably not. But it'd be good to see.
Yeah, but just at least to fill a spot at least, for like a credible name,
Of course, yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, like that's what it's all about, and I think she would be great for that match. Ultimately, I'm hoping that they stack that women's Money in the Bank match, obviously in New Orleans, and then after that, maybe if she doesn't win, maybe she goes back after JC. I don't know if we see JC Jane in the ladder match, for WWE's been known to put champions in the matches, so you can't really rule it out. As far as War Games goes, it's really tough to say. You got Charlotte's faction and Jade's faction. You also got the Judgment Day as well. 3 ladies on Judgment Day, so it's going to be interesting.
It is still pretty early to tell about Survivor Series, so it's like I'm not going to really touch on that too much yet until at least till we get past at least Money in the Bank at least. I'm not really thinking about Survivor Series too much, but it's going to be here before we know it. So just throwing it out there just for something, but may not be enough until we get a clear direction. But
Of course, yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, like maybe we get. I don't know. Maybe they put Nikki in. I don't know. I doubt they.
Oh God! Please God, let's not do that. That's the last thing I want to see. Hopefully, whatever we do with Paige and Nikki Bella, it's going to be over before War Games. So let's not. I don't want to put that out there.
No. I mean, like I don't know if WWE's gonna put Paige and Nikki both in the women's Money in the Bank match. I wouldn't do it personally. But knowing WWE, you just never know. But we'll see. Like I said, they have to finish the. I hate to say this saying because we know who says this, but they have to finish the story. They turned on her at SummerSlam, so it hasn't gotten a payoff due to Bree's injury. So we are going to see them go 1-on-1. Obviously, Nikki was on our own busted open, I believe it was today or yesterday, talking about how she wants to win a couple more single titles before she retires. So maybe it is ultimately Paige and Nikki in the future feud for that United States Championship. I don't know. I mean, I'm okay with it as long as Paige is the champion. So
yeah, we'll have to wait and see. So, but we just always see what happens there. But next, let's get into. We got that's time for this dude. Blake Monroe and Julia supposed to have a match on Friday, but it never happened because Blake said that she needs to be in a championship match. She's to be in a she needs to be in a quality match, in a championship match, and it's like, come on, what? I'm like, oh my god, this is frustrating because the fact is. It's really supposed to have heat on Blake. That's the main point of her being a heel, right? But now we're just Blake. We're not really hating on Blake. We're hating on the company how she's been booked because she has yet to wrestle on this show, and she's talking about she wants her first match to be a championship match. She wants her first match to be with Chelsea Green. I'm like, I mean, I guess, but I'm like that. It's not logical. It's not common, I should say. It's not common for that to happen normally for someone debuting in their first match as a championship match. I mean, I can think back to, I mean, the closest example I could think of is two of them. It's Paige winning her first match, when she debuted to defeat AJ with her first match on Raw coming out of WrestleMania. And then I guess another one is not exactly, but Alexa Bliss, who came in from NXT, quickly became number one contender a month in her time on the show, and she was supposed to face Becky in October, but they held off and wait until December to do their first match because Becky was hurt and was able to compete. So, and they put the title on her in a few months within her debut. But with Blake, she has not had one match. At least Alexa had matches before she got the championship match, and she was a heel at that point, and it's like, but people are expected to have to see Blake in a championship match against Chelsea Green, when she's done nothing in the ring. I enjoy Blake. I love Blake. I enjoy her run on NXT. It was pretty short. She had a quick run as NXT North American Championship. I think we mentioned this last week. And she come up to the main roster. They do 3,000 vignettes with this woman, saying she's targeting Rhea and Alexa and Charlotte, all these top women. But yet, and then recently she said Julia and all this stuff, and then she attacked Julia and Kiana and Candice. And it's like for like multiple weeks, and she attacked Julia again on Friday. And but this time it wasn't in the backstage segment. This time it happened in front of the crowd, but she still attacked these women. What is enough? Like, I can understand that she's a heel, and that's fine, but this is going to come down to people crapping all over the company because the way she's been booked. And you're going to have her in a match at some point. Some people are okay with this. I don't know why they are okay with this. I can understand heel heat, but they can do it in a different way for her not to, if she would have wrestled like first, I think I wouldn't mind her not wanting to have to wrestle too much. But if she came in way sooner, they took a long time for her to debut. Had she debuted in the very first week and she started doing this in the first couple of weeks, doing this, and fine. But this is her first time really doing something here, and to actually have a presence on the show or have something to do with on the show. So part of me understands why they're doing this, but I wish they'd done it. They done this in her first week on the show instead of doing a vignette. Maybe they could have done a vignette like the first 2 weeks, and then that third week she would have showed up and do what she's doing now. By the time we hit now, because that was already almost September, and she's been doing these attacks since last month? Or not even last month. I think this is back in was it May?
Yeah.
And so, man, it's like that's the problem that I have with it is how long it has taken. Not the fact that she's doing her heel character. It's fine. I just wish it was I wish it was presented in a different way, so that she would have already had a match instead of it being a holding pattern until she wants to face the women's champion. But CJ, how you feel about it? And by the way, too, I think that may end up happening too. I think that may be the end goal, is for her to ultimately, her first match is going to be for the women's championship, but she probably will win. I think maybe that's what they're waiting for, I guess, but whatever. But CJ, how you feel about this? And it's like, and poor Julia getting screwed over again. She clearly doesn't matter. What is up with these attacks? First backstage and now in front of the crowd, but like now twice in front of the crowd at this point. What do you make of this? What is happening?
I think it's absolutely garbage. If you want my honest opinion, you got a superstar with the caliber of Blake Monroe, who, in my opinion, had one of the best female storylines over in AEW with Mariah May with Toni Storm. Blake's wrestled over in Japan, women's champion over in AEW. She's always wanted to come over to WWE. It's been her dream. She obviously, I don't know if you know this, but she is a monster fan of Paul Levesque, Triple H. So the company is it's weird because she's a very attractive female. So you know she's gonna get the social media clicks and views that they look for on social media. But they literally brought this woman into the company 3.5 to 4 months ago and absolutely done nothing with her. She's done nothing but vignettes or attack people backstage. And then you want to advertise, like vocally advertise for a solid week that she's going to have her debut match against Julia.
Have it on social
And,
media saying
and
she
then
has a match.
and then she doesn't get an entrance. And she attacks her from behind, no bell ring. It's absolutely terrible. It's god awful.
It's
Um,
laughable at this point. It's laughable. I'm just.
you can't, even though it's Blake Monroe, like you can't just say, okay, well, it's Blake, so let's automatically put her in a title match because you still have to make it make sense. So, you know, I thought the segment was absolutely terrible for Blake and for Julia. I feel bad for Julia. I feel like Julia needs to move to Raw at this point. But I don't think that Blake's first match is going to be a title match. I think that they are still going to do something with her and Julia at some point. I'm hoping maybe they make up for what they did and have them wrestle at Sunday Night's main event. I think that would make the most sense to do Blake and Julia at Sunday Night's main event. There are no women's matches on the card as of yet. So make her debut match at a semi PLE caliber event like Sunday Night's main event in Georgia. But WWE, you don't hold a talent like that in the back doing small segments or interviews or vignettes or attacking people for almost 4 months. This is something she should have done the second week she was on the main roster. I would have been completely okay with that. 4 months in, I am not completely okay with it. Do better, WWE. She's a limestone. She is a ticket seller. She is a merchandise seller. She is a social media view seller. They got to do better, and I'm hoping they put her and Julie on the card for Sunday Night's main event.
Yeah, it's like I said. It's just I have really no words from this. It's just you have a caliber right in Blake Monroe. You know what this kind of reminds me of a little bit? Not really the same, but it's almost. I think this is even equally worse of even having this kind of having Roxanne lose in every single match she's in, and you have Blake never wrestle at all. It's like both scenarios are awful, and it's like what are we doing here? This is supposed to be the future of the women's division. You can't always rely on I love her to death and Becky and Alexa and all these women. They're still there. I'm glad that they're still there doing their thing, but you gotta have to focus on the other women too. I mean, I thought this way when they weren't booking Becky properly. So it's very similar here. They're just doing the same thing that they did with Becky, like they did with Liv. It's like it's what are we doing here, man? We gotta have some equal footing here, and it should be a lot better now because when they came in, it was the Divas. At least Becky, she was the Divas division, and with Liv, she was still super young. But you have the talent there to get these women over who are already who's already established. You could have Blake in the ring with Charlotte, just like you did with JC Jane. They did that with JC and Charlotte together in a match before. Why can't you do that with Blake? Why can't she be in the ring with Paige, with I don't know. So it's just if they wanted to do the match, let her do the match with Julia and just have her win. We know the outcome that's gonna end up being. It's gonna for her to win. I don't know why you decide not to do the match at 7. Have her wait until she has a match for the women's championship. I don't know. All of this is completely unnecessary, but we'll see what happens this week on SmackDown. I don't know, but we'll see. Let's move on. Next, we'll go into Tiffany Stratton and Lash Legend. This match was fine, but The whole situation with Chelsea Green still looming still between them. I think was did Chelsea try to get involved and that caused Lash to win and caused Tiffany to get distracted and then and Lash won. Again, like I said so many times, that the inevitable turn of Tiffany Stratton is going to happen here. She's going to probably she's going to win that title from Chelsea, whatever happens, whenever she gets cleared. Maybe happens at Money in the Bank. Maybe she'll be cleared by then. Hopefully, I still think she should have just gotten stripped, or she should never won the championship at SummerSlam. I will continue on saying that because it's been evident of there's been evidence here of my point being right here, and that title should have gone to Tiffany when they had the chance. But they're just buying their time at this point with Tiffany until Chelsea is healthy. She's there on the show until she's healthy enough to for Tiffany to title off of her. I know that Diane says she wants the first shot, so they probably do that first, and would probably lead to the. I'm just waiting until Tiffany just punches the crap out of Chelsea when that time comes. But they're taking a while for that to happen until she gets cleared. Which whatever, I think she should have gotten stripped, but we wouldn't have this issue right now. If she wasn't stripped, then they would have got a different direction. But they chose to keep title on this woman. So anyway, CJ, how you feel about this? How you feel about Lash winning and Tiffany losing? Are they going to do anything with Lash at all, or is it still doing this thing with Nia and whatever they're just playing? They're just being the placeholder until the actual story between Tiffany and Chelsea is happening. But how you feel about this segment?
I don't know, man. It feels like it feels like they really don't know what they're doing. Obviously, Chelsea was on a Twitter or a show or something that I saw, where she was talking about how she's got a bedazzled mask, so it looks like she isn't going to have surgery. Like I said, these moments that WWE likes to do to put these titles on, I'm okay with it, but eventually we gotta get to a bigger storyline. Tiffany Stratton losing clean to Lash in the middle of the ring, like, I don't know, man. From a former women's SmackDown Women's Champion who beat Charlotte Flair at WrestleMania to having the U.S. title, decent reign, wasn't great in my opinion, but still decent. And then just losing clean in the middle of the ring. The problem is, Kyle, is we want it to be a heel turn with Tiffany, but they're not even really putting out any type of breadcrumbs for that. Like anything that would make me believe that's something that's looming. They usually at least have, something that makes you feel like it's coming. I don't feel that. I don't know what they do next with the whole Tiffany Chelsea Nia Lash thing. I mean, Lash did get the pin over Chelsea, so maybe Lash is the one that gets the title shot. I don't know. We'll see what happens this week on SmackDown, but Chelsea, I don't feel like Chelsea can hold the title. Maybe let her hold it to Money in the Bank, but they got to make a decision at that point. I can't see Nia Jax winning the title back. I just don't think that's going to happen, in my personal opinion. Flash, obviously, WWE's high on her. I truly put her in the same type of category as Jade. I think she's a little better than Jade, though. They are high on her, so maybe she's the next champion. I don't know, but for me, it doesn't seem like, or if they were going to do it, turn into Tiffany Hill, there's no signs of it. So I can't just get super excited and say, I think this is what's going to happen due to what I'm watching on Friday Night SmackDown, because they're not giving us anything. So it's tough to say. I think it makes Tiffany kind of like a geek, like really weak. just getting pinned in the middle of the ring after beating Charlotte at WrestleMania and winning the United States title, and dropping in the ladder match, which was kind of hard to win anyway, and then just losing clean in the middle of the ring in a very short match to Lash Legend. So I don't know where they're going with this, but if they're going with it based off a storyline, to me it doesn't look like a Tiffany heel turn. So I don't know. We'll see.
I think they're biding their time. I don't think they planned for Chelsea to get hurt, and so they were like, and they clearly didn't want her to relinquish the championship because, why do that since you can't have the championship on Rhea? I think people would think it'd be a double standard, which it would be, but it's just, I just I get your point, but I feel like to me they could have just had a situation where they could have just had Tiffany could blame her, and then she'll turn heel, and then we're off and running with something interesting with Tiffany's character, and then her being a heel for the first time on the main roster, at least consistently, because that was the play. She was supposed to be a heel when she got called out, but people just gravitate towards her, especially when they went over to Australia for the Chamber 2 years ago, and then they just ran with Tiffany as a babyface. So, yeah. The end goal is that I just say have freaking Chelsea get stripped for that championship, but since they're not, they're just gonna do the holding pattern on whenever she's cleared. They would have done the mask thing with her like they did before in the past with her wrestling with having a mask on and fine. The quicker she's in the ring, the quicker the heel turn will happen, and we're off with an interesting story between Chelsea and Tiffany for the championship, so we can get that going to make it feel interesting, and then have Tiffany wrestle real competitors on the show. So that's how I feel. But we'll see what happens. So this coming Friday, we have 2 women's matches that's gonna happen on Friday. First, we have Mia Yim versus Tatum Paxley. I still call her Mia Yim. I refuse calling Mia. It's just weird. And so I'm looking forward to this match. It sucks that that's a tape show for Tatum's debut match. I wish it was live, but whatever. I'm looking forward to this. I think this will probably end up ultimately being a 6-woman tag in a near couple, at some point whenever Alexa's cleared, or maybe it's a tag match or whatever. But I think there'll be a 6-woman tag match at some point here soon, between the 3 of them, between Tatum, Alexa, and Charlotte versus Mia Fab and Jade at some point. But which I kind of like is to be, for they are consistent with having factions in the women's division of both brands. So I mean, whatever, it is what it is. It's fine. Clearly hype enough for War Games. That's also kind of a reason why they're doing this, I guess. And so yeah, I'm looking forward to this match. Like I said, I wish it was live and not taped, but we can't pick the cities and time frames. But yeah, so I expect Tatum to win here. Should be a good match. I'm intrigued with the crowd reaction. How they're gonna come across with it. I say that, but again, it's taped, so they be dubbed the cheers or whatever. But I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to seeing how this feud is going to play out in the next few months. If it's going to end up happening with the majority of them probably in War Games. I mean, they're going to be in War Games in some way, somehow, maybe. Maybe something happens at Money in the Bank. Not really sure. They really got to really focus on that show a little bit more. I know they have Saturday Night's Main Event that they got to focus on, but it's just, they have the major. I don't really count that as a pay-per-view. Money in the Bank is the real pay-per-view to me. So they're going to have to really I'm just really intrigued what they're going to do on that show with these women here in particular, how they're going to factor into that show, if at all. But because ultimately it'll just be just matches to do matches at this point. We need a story. Maybe it will happen with the 3 of them to be a mini story there, like they did something similar with when Fatal Influence came in. They did a few matches with Alexa, Charlotte, and Rhea and all that stuff. Maybe it'd be a similar thing here, which would be cool because I want to see Tatum go back and forth on the microphone with them, and even me and BFF, because they kind of end up being silent sometimes. So I would trade where this is going to go. I am starting to Tatum to win here, of course, but I'm trading for it in the next couple of weeks or within the next month or so. If they're going to continue on with this feud, the three of them, whenever Alexa's going to be able to get cleared. That's the other thing too. So yes, CJ, how you feel about that? What's your thoughts on what I said about that? A lot of the journey here, but based off this match here, how's it going to lead to the future with the three of them in a feud together? If you see that happening.
Yeah, I mean, it started off really well. Obviously, we both talked about it several times. I would have preferred to see Tatum on Raw, but Charlotte requested it. Charlotte, I feel like, is doing the best she's done her whole career. Not going after titles, but still really popular with the fans. So adding Tatum to the group, obviously the odd dynamic. Obviously, Alexa's a little off, not off, but a little odd, a little dark. I'm looking forward to it. But the only problem is, like I said, they started off strong with the Tatum debut, and then they had her in the closet. They had them in the closet, which was just terrible. It was a terrible follow up. And then last week, obviously, they have the same interaction with all three, kind of acting all goofy, a little comedy, so to speak. But then you get Jade, Meechin, and B5 come up to interrupt, and then we get the match for SmackDown with Meechin going up against Tatum Paxley. So this will be Tatum Paxley's first match on the main roster. She's great in the ring. So I have no issues. Meechin is also great in the ring as well. So I think it's going to be a great matchup. Do we get a clean finish? I don't know. I doubt it. I mean, we're talking about two factions here. Ultimately, I think this is something that's going to go. Honestly, Kyle, it may lead us all the way close to the end of the year. You're right. It may go up into a war game. I think ultimately, as I said with the Blake and Julia thing, in my opinion, I think this could possibly be another Sunday Night Main Event match. It could be Charlotte, Tatum, and Alexa against Jade, Meechin, and B5 in a 6-woman tag.
Well, how many weeks we are ahead for Sunday Night's Main Event? And we're not that. It's almost here at this point. But you're gonna have that time to add a couple more matches, I guess. I don't know, but I just feel like
there's only 3 matches on the card, and there's no women's matches. So like you gotta have some sort of women's matches on the card. And we still got 2 SmackDowns before Sunday Night's Main Event. So and this feud has been going for a little while now. So it's not like they're just throwing something together. It just makes the most sense. Truly, I don't know. They haven't made it official. I'm just kind of throwing it out there. I think that makes the most sense. Would probably maybe Tatum gets the win, or if she doesn't, maybe we get interference or something from Jade and B5, and then Charlotte and Alexa come out. Boom, we set up a trip, the 6-woman tag. That's Sunday Night Main Event, maybe. Yeah, I mean, I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it because she's wrestling, not doing backstage stuff in the closet or just interviews. So anything where they're doing something out in the ring, I'm perfectly fine with it. And if they do a 6-woman tag at Sunday Night Main Event, I'm perfectly fine with that as well. Because a lot of people thought the Rhea, Alexa, Charlotte versus the baddies at Saturday Night Main Event last time was going to be awful, but it was actually a really, really good match. So, yeah, I mean, I'm perfectly okay if that's the direction they go and do the 6-woman tag with Charlotte, Alexa, and Tatum against Jade, Meechin, and B5 at Sunday Night Main Event. I'd be perfectly fine with that.
Yeah, and at least Tatum is wrestling in her debut match. Is not gonna pretend that she's gonna wrestle. Nah, I'm full confidence that Tatum's gonna wrestle on Friday this week. So
Yep.
So I think Blake Russell should take some hints of or take some pointers of having a match on her debut instead of doing a sneak attack. So thank you, Tatum, to have a match for me to have something to talk about next week on the show. So looking forward to it. Okay, so that was SmackDown. Let's shift over to Raw. So we had, what do we have? We had Stephanie Vercera versus Roxanne Perez. Ah, well, I can't. The reason why I sigh, and I'm sure people already know, is that Roxanne Perez has again lost to Stephanie. But what I figured she was, I mean, I mentioned this last week when he made this match official. I was like, okay, well, I kind of figured that you're going to have Stephanie's first match. They have her in the ring with Roxanne because she's the only woman on in Judgment Day that does have anything going on, has anything going on. They want to protect Raquel and Liv because they're both champions, but this is why I was not a fan of this woman to be part of Judgment Day. As I mentioned so many times, she should never have been in this faction. Last year was a waste of time, complete waste. What was that whole thing with Finn Balor anyway? You shifted him over to SmackDown, and he did nothing with the follow up with the Roxanne Finn thing. I don't know. I don't know. I keep bringing up a male here, but I'm a fan of Finn Balor. But I'm just saying, it's just the fact that they did that. They did that angle and it led nowhere. So you have Roxanne being the punching bag for no reason whatsoever. Former NXT Women's Champion, the greatest character work she's done as a heel. I think she could also be a great babyface when they give her a chance to be a babyface. Great in the ring, great talker, great look. You have everything you have in Roxanne to do to be a major star, but you have this woman lose consistently every single week she has a match, or every time she has a match, she loses, or she takes a pinfall if it's a tag match. I understand that Stephanie was going to win, which is fine. They're clearly doing, and they had Becky come out after to help out Stephanie for like a twice all that stuff. They did the back and forth with Stephanie and Becky again. I'll worry about Stephanie later on, but because something happened with her there, I'll talk about later on. But CJ, how do you feel about this? What is happening here? Why do you keep having Roxanne in these situations to end up being the loser in these matches, whether it's a tag or singles? We both knew that she was going to lose because it was Stephanie's first match back since WrestleMania, but still, I mean, they could have had her face someone else, or you gotta have Stephanie face someone else. You gotta have Roxanne face someone else, and I have her out on what is happening here? Is Roxanne going to be? That's why I think Roxanne's going to win. Is going to win the briefcase. This is what they do when someone even has the briefcase. Usually, they have the briefcase. Someone loses matches when he had the briefcase, and he ultimately went. He ultimately win the championship. Though their time with that briefcase, they were losing. I think this is going to be a complete reverse. Roxanne is losing now, and I think if she does win the briefcase, she'll end up in a winning streak when she wins the briefcase. Maybe this is an opposite effect than previous winners who won the briefcase. So I don't know how you feel about this. That doesn't make it right. I'm upset about that. I'm still upset at the fact that she's still losing matches anyway. So it doesn't make it. Just because I say that doesn't mean I like it. It's just an observation that I see here. I didn't like this. CJ, how you feel about this? What is happening? And what's going on with Roxanne? What's I don't know.
So I go back to a phone call that me and you had back in, I don't know, maybe June, end of June, maybe 1st of July, something like that. Where we were talking about the women's division. Maybe even been before the show started. I don't know. It was a long time ago. And I was telling you, like, and you were blown away, like, Roxanne has suffered over 50 something pinfall losses since being on the main roster, which is by far the most, especially on the women, maybe even men's as well. I don't know. I'd have to look at Wikipedia, but at least over 50. I remember telling you, I think it's going to be a ripple effect. I think it's similar to the Liv Morgan, when she was, coming up. I know I told you back in like maybe June or July. I personally felt the only way to fix the situation is to have her win Money in the Bank. But it's just crazy because at the end of the day, that the stat was even put up there on WWE or on Twitter. Roxanne Perez is 2-21 in her last 23 singles matches on the main roster. She has not won a singles match since John Cena was still on the active roster. And so
That was insane. That was insane.
if that tells
Oh
you
my
anything, I mean, it's been a while since Cena's been on the active roster. She's won 2 out of her last 23 matches. It's awful. There's, I mean, we could talk about it for hours. We did before. I mean, I remember you being blown away at the number of losses that she's taken since being on the main roster. There is only one way to fix this, and I've been saying this since June or July. I know for a fact told you on the phone. She has to win Money in the Bank. There is no other way. She's got to win. That they have to be doing this for some crazy reason, and that crazy reason has to be her walking around with that pretty little shiny briefcase and cashing that in on whether it's Liv Morgan, Stephanie McCool, or Becky Lynch. But that's the only way to fix this. I'm saying this
Even
now.
and like I said, whenever she wins the briefcase, have her win matches.
Yeah.
Before all this stuff too. It's like,
of course.
I mean,
but I will say this. Even though I've been predicting Roxanne to win the Money in the Bank, and obviously as well. We've been talking about it for months. If she does not win Money in the Bank, I'm going to be really worried about what the direction is for Roxanne Perez moving forward. It has to be, and I hate using the word lock, but it has to be a lock that she wins this briefcase, because if not, like, I'm sincerely worried about what they're going to do with her on the main roster. She is a prodigy, someone that was very highly touted from NXT, a former women's NXT champion, held the title for a long time over there on the NXT brand. To have her lose and not win a match since John Cena was on the roster, that is absolutely just gross. Like,
and what makes it even worse too is that she stayed. They allowed her to stay, but Cora Jade left, and now she's at TNA. It's like, don't do the same thing with Roxanne. Keep her around. You already got rid of one girl that I really enjoyed on NXT. They never gave her a chance at all, and she left before she made it to the main roster. Yeah, Roxanne had been the women's champion for a very long time in NXT. You call this woman up, you have her ejected into Judgment Day, which I thought that was so lame and so stupid in the first place. She had some success as tag team champion with Raquel. Then they lose the titles, and then you have this woman lose ever since then.
Yeah, I mean, but by the way, WWE, if you're listening, Elena Black did just lose to Brookside in her home state, hometown. Let's bring Elena Black back to WWE. Let's do that. But Roxanne, like I said, not having a singles win since John Cena was on the main roster, over 55 pinfalls. It's hardly ever Raquel. It's always Roxanne. It has to be a lock that she wins Money in the Bank. I've been saying it for months. It has to happen. There's no other solution. If she doesn't, I think she's in trouble on the main roster, Kyle. I'm just gonna be out. If she does not walk away with that briefcase, I think that she's in trouble creatively, not like legally, but creatively. Right. I don't know how they can rebound from it. Without it has to happen, and I believe it will happen. In New Orleans.
Just the way how Blake and Roxanne has been treated for at least for Roxanne for a while, but how both are similar in the way they've been booked so far. Blake never wrestling, and then Roxanne losing matches every time she's in the ring. What's happening? Yeah. You're supposed to be in the future of the women's division. I don't understand what we're doing here with both of these women. What's happening?
It's crazy. And when I saw that fact that, like I said again, that she hasn't won a match since John Cena was on the roster, I'm like, bro, like, that's been forever. Like, that's been a while. So she has to win Money in the Bank. If she doesn't, I will sincerely be worried about what's going to happen with Roxanne Perez moving forward. Like, there's at that point, I don't know if there's any coming back from it. Like, is she just going to keep eating pins? I mean, it's okay. I mean, it wasn't. I knew she was losing Monday. Stephanie hasn't wrestled since WrestleMania. There was no way Stephanie was eating a pin there. But it's how many times she's been pinned in tag team matches that really didn't mean anything. It wasn't never Raquel. It was always Roxanne. So it, they have to put the briefcase on her. If they don't, like I said, I will be sincerely worried about Roxanne moving forward creatively on the Raw roster.
Well, since we were on the topic on Stephanie, let's talk about Becky and Stephanie. They again went face to face, and Becky came out to help out Stephanie to take out Liv and Raquel based off another 2 weeks in a row now. Becky's help out Stephanie, and I'll tie this into this as well that Stephanie and Liv is going to have a women's championship match in 2 weeks on Raw when it's back being live. So thank God for that, actually. So I almost that's kind of a good thing because they should not do that match on a tape show. So thank God it's happening 2 weeks when it's back being live. I don't know what city they're in, but it'll be live there. So I'm really enjoying Becky and Stephanie a lot. I'm intrigued where that's going. And again, like I said weeks ago at this point, pretty much since they both came back, it's really about them, and Liv is just the third wheel. Now, I'm not expecting Stephanie to win the championship in 2 weeks, but they gotta have to have create some type of scenario where it has to be a triple threat at Money in the Bank. And that's clearly the direction here. That's clearly obvious. As if it, I mean, we mentioned this weeks ago. I assumed I thought either one of them was going to be in a ladder match. It's clearly obvious. It's going to end up being a triple threat match at Money in the Bank. And so, I expected that to happen. Becky's probably going to come in, try to help out Stephanie again because Roxanne and Raquel, who love playing cheerleader, especially Raquel as the IC champion. I don't know what we're doing with that, but they're gonna try to help her out. And Becky comes out to Becky will try to help out Stephanie, but it kind of backfires, and Liv wins. And then I can see a scenario that finally Becky and Stephanie will finally go and attack. Will go out and brawl probably. I think that probably will end up happening, and then Pierce will create a triple threat match for Money in the Bank for the women's championship. I see that going down. I'll be slightly shocked that doesn't happen, but yeah. But how you feel about the match? How you feel about that match happening, and what do you feel about that outcome happening? For my prediction of what the outcome of that match will end up happening if it goes down where I think it's going to lead.
Well, you won't hardly ever hear me say that I'm glad I was wrong, but I am glad that I was wrong. I'm glad because there was everything about what WWE was doing that was pointing me in the direction of they're gonna do some sort of tag match because they always do. Oh, can they coexist? Thank God they're not doing that at Sunday Night's Main Event, or not yet. Anyway, I don't think I don't think that they're gonna do that. I was okay with the whole segment. Truthfully, I think that there's so much meat on the bone with this story, but ultimately, like I've been saying since these segments started, ultimately I think we're getting a triple threat at Money in the Bank. I wish or at least one of them would have been in the ladder match, but truthfully, I really don't because I need Roxanne to win that briefcase. Stephanie's not winning the title in 2 weeks. So, let's just be real. But I am glad. I will say this: I am glad that Liv Morgan. Obviously, we heard Kendall last night. She threw a shot at Liv, talking about she defends her title unlike other people that's been champion over 100 days. It is going to be her second title defense in over 130 days, which is just absolutely crazy to me. But we know we're going to get outside interference from the Judgment Day, and then Becky's going to come out there. This same story is going to continue to go on all the way up until Money in the Bank. I don't think it's a singles match. I just don't. Um, we get Becky, Stephanie, and Liv as a triple threat. And if it's me and I have the pin, I have Roxanne win the Money in the Bank at the first of the show, because that the women's Money in the Bank always leads the show off. The ladder match is always usually first. And then during the Liv Stephanie Becky match, I go ahead and have Roxanne, because Triple H hates Money in the Bank anyway. I go ahead and have Roxanne cash in on Liv right there. Like, don't wait. Like, why wait? Like, she's been losing for over a year. So have her cash in right there. Or if you want to wait, that's fine. Have her win matches. I'm not opposed to what you said, but it makes a lot of sense.
Well, I could also see a scenario that all three women are down, right? And then Roxanne will cash in. It'll end up being a four-way, and then something happens where Stephanie hits the moonsault thing she does on the top rope, and she takes her out, and pins Liv there at that moment. She didn't, and she just sneaks out a victory, something like that. Or she hit. I was also thinking too. She could probably hit like pop rocks on Liv out of nowhere, just out of just happenstance. It's something like that. So one of those two options I can see happen. That could be interesting. So I didn't really thought about it like that, So and then after that could lead to their story ultimately between Liv and Roxanne, and then that'll be something new and fresh to get behind, and then Becky and Stephanie will have an issue too. So then all four of them are going to have an issue to be something new and different to sink our teeth into, and then there's something else we're going to talk about later on about that. We'll get into after this. But what's your thoughts of that?
Yeah, I mean, of course. I mean, that's an excellent idea. Like that's kind of where I was going with it. Have her inserted, or just have her, cashed in after the match is over. Either way is fine with me. I just, in my eyes, Liv Morgan is not holding the championship till WrestleMania. So go ahead and have Roxanne. I think there is 0% chance of Liv Morgan walks into Saudi Arabia as the women's champion. So in my eyes, I have Roxanne go ahead and cash in. And if you want to, if you're just so gung ho on this Roxanne Liv match, you have Roxanne walk into WrestleMania as the women's champion, because Liv is going to leave for a few months. She's going to get married, so she's not going to be on TV the whole fall and the whole winter, and she might be back for Rumble or something like that. But you have Roxanne defending the title against, either AJ Lee or Liv Morgan at WrestleMania. Like, the story writes itself. You don't wait all the way until WrestleMania to have to have Roxanne Perez cash in the briefcase, because one, Triple H ain't gonna let that briefcase go that long. He just ain't. He hates Money in the Bank. So have her cash in at the PLE during that match. Have her walk into WrestleMania as champion, and then you could do, if you still just gung ho on this Roxanne Liv match, have Roxanne defend the title and beat Liv Morgan at WrestleMania. The story writes itself.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like I said before, you had even if she doesn't cash in right away, I could see Roxanne be the first woman to cash in at WrestleMania. That's something huge there too. So either way, the end goal is that Roxanne needs to win that briefcase. No ifs, ands, or about it. I'll be down for AJ Lee versus. I mean, it depends if AJ decides to come back. That's the other thing. We're not really sure if she's going to come back or not yet. So you have to wait and see of that, because I don't want to put that out there and say that's going to 1,000% happen, because AJ's been gone since WrestleMania. So, I mean, who knows? She may come back. She may be a surprise entry at the Royal Rumble next year, probably. But until I actually see her, I'm gonna kind of hold my breath on that, and then they'll just do the match between Liv and Roxanne, and that's going to be the feud going into WrestleMania and even beyond throughout next year. So that's my thoughts on that. But speaking of new women, we had a vignette of a woman coming to Raw, and it was clearly the vignette for Lola Vice. She's going to show up on September 14th in Mexico City. I think it's a fine place for her to debut in. She's been over there for AAA as the mixed tag team champion there and all that stuff, and her having experience there and wanting to get experience there before she even became the NXT Women's Champion. So I'm glad that she's finally going to show up on the main roster. Now I assumed we were both completely wrong on this because I assumed that Lola Vice was going to end up on SmackDown and Tatum Paxley was going to end up on Raw. So because of the history between Lyra and Tatum, they had their history there. Even Tatum, I'm sorry, Lyra herself, in an interview, said that she was showing some emotion when Tatum's name was mentioned and wanted to be cool to work with her. But that's not going to happen anytime soon when they're both on different shows. And so you have Lola Vice now going to be on Raw. I thought she was going to go on SmackDown to do something with JC Jane or do something with Paige for the first time or something like that. That could have been an interesting dynamic, but guess not. I'm fine with her on Raw. Have her in a few with Roxanne and Becky and Liv. That's something I could get behind. So I'm all in favor of Lola on Raw. I was just slightly surprised, but I like it. So I'm looking forward to seeing what she does. Last time she was seen on WWE television was back on NXT where she lost to Kendall Gray at that underground match, and then she disappeared for a while, kind of very similar to Tatum, and then they showed up. Tatum on SmackDown, Lola now on Raw. What's your thoughts on this, CJ? How you feel about Lola being now on Monday Night Raw and her first, obviously, match, but her first time showing up, it's gonna be in Mexico City. So that's a good. I think she's gonna get cheered really hard there too. So, what's your thoughts about this?
Oh yeah, I was definitely wrong. I did not expect Lola to be on Raw. I mean, obviously her and Damien's not being married, but WWE still loves to try to keep the couple together. I thought Lola would be a better fit over on SmackDown, but SmackDown's so loaded in the women's division. Raw really needs some spunk, especially as on the babyface side. So you can automatically throw her into, which I hate to say this because I would be contradicting myself on what I said about Sol Ruca, how they just immediately threw the title on her. But at the end of the day, you kind of have to at this point. Like, you got to put Lola Vice in the conversation for the Intercontinental Championship because besides Io and Sol Ruca, like, who else is there that can challenge Raquel for that Intercontinental Championship? I'm super excited about it. It's on a big show, obviously the one in Mexico City. It's going to be a big show. The World Championship is going to be defended there. It's very predictable on that, but it's still going to be a great match, I'm sure. And it's the day after my birthday, man. So like, I'm super excited for Lola to be on the main roster. Let's hope that WWE does a lot better with her than they have with Blake or with.
Yeah, pretty much. They did. Oh man, it'll be sad that both Tatum and Lola get special treatment, but Blake for some reason is treated like she's garbage or something.
Now I can see a scenario which I don't think she would win, but you never know. Where maybe Lola goes after the Intercontinental Championship. Maybe she doesn't win yet, but maybe Lola qualifies and gets into the Women's Money in the Bank because I'm going, so like I'm wanting to see like all 8 people. But it would make sense. She's fit for that type of stuff. But having it in Mexico City, Mexico, her debuting is perfect. I don't know if that means that Damien may be moving to Raw. I don't know. But yeah, I was shocked. I was definitely wrong. I thought it was the exact opposite. But I'm looking forward to it. I'm glad they didn't do like 100 vignettes like they did with Blake. and she's gonna be there September 14th, the day after my birthday. So I'm looking forward to seeing what they're gonna do with her. Obviously, if I'm have the pin, I'm booking it. I'm putting her right into that Women's Intercontinental Championship picture with Soul and Io and Raquel. I think with the right creative and booking, it can be great. So yeah, looking forward to it. Definitely looking forward to it.
Yeah, they need some mid card women for that championship and stuff, but they can't all go for the world title. We already have. I think we're satisfied. Well, at least I'm satisfied with it being Becky and Stephanie, the top of the card, being to go after Liv, and you have Roxanne Lumen there too. She's going to be in that picture. Raquel needs someone, so you have uh, Soul and Lyra, and now hopefully Lola Vice. But speaking of EO, Lyra, and Soul, they were backstage doing their segment there about of Lyra being all crazy in the head still, of being so annoyed that Soul's getting an opportunity at Raquel again, and being and then all this stuff. And so we have Raquel and Soul next week on Raw, again being taped. I hate tape shows, man. It's terrible. But it's just a hate when you do like championship matches or tape shows, whatever. I just don't like it. Anyway, it's not just happening for the rematch here. I think Raquel's going to retain. She just became champion. Soul's reign was not great. They didn't give her enough time to talk at all. And like I said, I was surprised too when that was that was their tag team partner in Io Sky. And like I said before, we said this weeks ago when it happened. I was completely I was so let down over Io Sky being the mystery partner, which they should never have said that in the first place, because I thought it would have been Lola Vice, honestly. But I'm glad she's debuting the way she's doing now, instead of random tag match that wouldn't really would be kind of outshined. I think so. Anyway, I'm happy for it. I'm looking forward to the match. I'm excited for Raquel to retain, yeah. I think also too. I think they need. I want to see Raquel and Io at some point. I think Io with that championship could be fun. Honestly, absolutely wouldn't really mind that. But if they want to put the title on Lola Vice, ultimately, then I'm down with that too. Either way, I'll be happy with it. Whoever walks out as the champion at some point, whether that's Io or Lola, let's say, I think Io and Lola feud, I can really get behind. I really kind of do want to see that. So I want to see that, and you can still have Soul in the mix too as well, and even Lyra too. I'd be okay with that. But Raquel as champion, I don't. That doesn't really work for me, honestly. If they really want a heel to be a champion, it really should have been Lyra, honestly. But he chose not to, which I think that was a mistake, because Lyra's character has been garbage so far. I mean, our character, the way she's been booked, has been garbage. Her character is great, but it's just not good right now. So I think the IC title picks, the mid card title picture, I think it's going to be healthy now, especially with the addition of Lola being involved, and Io in that picture too. Just get her a break in the world title scene and have her in the mid card. I think that'd be a cool thing for her. And so, yeah, how you feel about this, CJ? How you feel about all this happening, and you can talk about the match to next week and all what you thoughts coming out of that match.
You know, we talked about this in pretty extended length about Lyra. I still feel like they fumbled the heel turn. I don't know what in the green beans that they're doing with her. She lost, and she still said, "Oh, I need a title match," which is just absolutely crazy to me. Maybe they're having her act like this really psychotic character who just doesn't understand what losing a match clean in the middle of the ring as a heel, after you've been built up heavily as a heel. Saul beat her, in my opinion, so she is the number one contender. I'm okay with it. Like I said, they've been teasing Bailey a lot. They've said her name 7 or 8 times on TV. She ain't going nowhere. I do expect. That's why I don't. Maybe that when she comes back, maybe that's why this story will make sense. because she's not. Well, Lyra and Bailey are not finished because of what Lyra did to Bailey in Saturday Night Main Event. I believe Bailey's back soon at some point to finish her feud off with Lyra. I don't particularly think Soul wins the title. Not yet. But I don't know. It, it's. I didn't think Raquel was beating her for the title either. So at the end of the day, I wouldn't think so. But I don't know. I think it'll be a great match. I think if Lyra is going to win the Intercontinental Championship and they're not going to do a triple threat with Soul, Lyra, and Raquel, and have, Lyra pin Soul, then this is another way they could go around it. They could try for the second time with Lyra with Soul by having her beat Raquel, but this is Raquel's first title defense. So, and by no means do I feel like she's dropping it. It just adds more layers to that mid card division, truthfully, Kyle. And with Lola Vice coming in, I think it'll be even better. I think Soul's gotten a lot better. In the ring over the last month and a half. So I am looking forward to the match. I think Raquel retains somehow, whether it be a DQ or something like that. Maybe Lyra ends up coming out there, and then maybe we see Bailey. Maybe we see Bailey Monday. Who knows? We'll see Monday. That hasn't been taped yet, so nobody knows anything that's going to happen. But I don't think Soul wins the title yet. But I think it'd be a great match. And then once Lola gets there, then obviously, we're in good shape and when it comes to the mid card title. So I'm looking forward to it. Soul earned it by beating Lyra, so we'll see what happens Monday. But I think there's going to be a lot more layers to the story. Triple H loves Raquel way too much to have her drop the title in her first title defense. So.
Yeah, I think ultimately I could see Lola taking the title off of Raquel, and then they could probably do a theme between Lola and Lyra. That could be interesting, too. If Bailey doesn't come back anytime soon, but I don't know. She could. But I'm just throwing it out there. It's like if she's not, I could see that too happening as well. So, I guess we'll wait and see. But I am just glad that Lola's on Raw. We got another woman on the show that's been needed. So. I'm glad that they called her up to be on Raw. I am surprised she's on Raw, but it is what it is. I'm glad that they're both on the main roster. I thought it would just been flip flopped, but it is what it is. It's fine. And then also, like I said, in 2 weeks we got Stephanie and Liv for the Women's World Championship on Raw. Luckily, that'll be live. Expected Liv to retain, honestly, and just like we said, it'll probably be a triple threat match for Money in the Bank with the three of them, and so we'll see how that's gonna play out. But let's shift over to NXT. We had Natty and Jada Parker face to face. They made the match official for Heat Wave between the two of them, which will be a submission match. So, yeah, CJ, how do you feel about this? We were talking about this since my show debuted, with these two women going back and forth and having Carmen and Nikita with a part of this group, which I think is completely unnecessary. I think it's unnecessary for Natalia being in this at all, but whatever. But this hopefully will be done with after this. I think they're tied one win apiece, I believe. And so I think this is the rubber match here. So I expected Jada to win here. I know it's a submission match. Is Natty's forte? This is her forte match or whatever. But she lost a submission match to Becky back in 2019 at SummerSlam. I think Jada is going to win here, and she can move on finally to the women's NXT championship. Honestly, at this point, even the North American championship, because Jada Parker needs some gold at some point. She's been on that show for a while now and has yet to challenge for a championship of any kind. So I think we need to get to that point now with Jada Parker. So I think she should win here and let's move on. But what do you think about this segment, CJ, and how you feel about it?
It's crazy. It's Natty searched out Jada. It wasn't one of those things where WWE sent her down there for Jada. Natty handpicked her. I can say every single week I enjoy what Natty's doing for NXT. Um, you know, and, and there's been a lot of story come out of this. Natty won the first match. Jada got down on herself but picked herself back up. That's kind of what the story with Natty was talking about through her promo last night. Jada's the person that Natty intentionally wanted Jada to become. So we've been talking about this a little bit for a little while now, and ultimately it has to come to an end, and they are tied 1-1. So like Natty's not gonna stay down in NXT forever. So I do see Jada Parker getting that win over Natty at Heatwave, and finally after that, Jada can finally move on and be able to go for a title, whether it's the NXT Women's North American Championship, which I feel like probably, in my opinion, will still be held by a heel, but she can break away and completely just be not done with Natty, but completely earn Natty's 100% respect, and Natty will have accomplished everything that she set out to accomplish with Jada Parker. So that's how I see it happening, and I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. So next we had Kalani Jordan doing the video package, talking about her match with Kalani Jordan heading into Heatwave, and so that happened. And then we had Zarya versus Callie Armstrong, and then if Callie wins, she gets added to the unification match with Ren Sinclair. She did defeat Zarya, which was slightly surprising. I mean, if they wanted to do that, so Valley could have had probably Ren in that match in that scenario instead of her defeating the champion. But whatever, it is what it is. They have that match is happening now as a triple threat. So there's that, I guess. So at least it's good for Callie to get to be on Heatwave, to be on a pay-per-view for NXT. So good for her on that. So let's really dive into NXT Heatwave for the women's matches that is happening. So we have first, let's start with the biggest match so right now is Kendall Gray versus Kalani Jordan for the NXT Women's Championship. Now, this match is conflicting for me because I'm a fan of both women. And they're still playing up the fact with Kendall's ear infection or not infection, but ear injury that she sustained when she had that match with Lola Vice in the underground match. So could that play a factor into her losing the championship to Kalani Jordan? That's a big possibility. I am conflicted in this match. It could go either way for me here. Kendall's great. I enjoy Kendall as the champion. I still want her to have a really good reign here. I think she should. But Kalani Jordan is also really good. I think she's been really good with this heel work still, and I've been loving her character works and all this stuff. It's her first time to ever wrestle for the NXT Championship ever since being on NXT. So yeah, this can go either way. If you've had a gun, if someone had a gun in my head, I'd say pick a winner. I'll say Kendall retains, but I'm not confident in that prediction. But I'll say Kendall retains here just for throwing out a prediction. CJ, how you feel about it?
Man, that's so tough. I love Kendall. I glaze Kendall every week on this show. I think she's if not the top two wrestlers, especially on the WWE roster. My only concern is, and me and you talked about this off camera, is and I don't think it happens at Heat Wave, but I still believe Rand's turning on her at some point. Like I said, I don't think it happens Sunday. But my main concern is what they've been showing us on TV, and that's that Kendall has been really playing up this ear injury ever since the underground match, and Kalani has not had a NXT Women's Championship match, nor has she won the title. As much as I hate to say it, and I've been saying it, I don't think Kendall's dropping the title till Stand and Deliver, but what they've been showing me on TV kind of tells me otherwise. I do believe that Kendall is still the future of NXT, going to be a future megastar, a main eventer of WrestleMania on the main roster. I think that this ear injury is going to be played up, and the reason why Kendall loses that Heat Wave. I think Kalani wins, gets a maybe 1.5 to 2 month reign, and then eventually Kendall wins the title back and holds the title till Stand and Deliver, and at that point, maybe Kalani goes up to the main roster.
Yeah, I can see that for sure. I mean, they are playing up the ear injury for a reason, and it kind of was a. I mean, was it great that when it happened when she got hurt? But I think they'll play it up, and it'll probably lead to Kalani winning. Maybe she was gonna win anyway, but we'll see. Yeah, again, this is a match that's hard to predict. So it can go either way, and I'll be satisfied of the outcome, whoever wins, because I'm a fan of both. So we'll see. Next, we have Zarya and Kalani Jordan. Callie Armstrong, very similar, and Ren and Rest Claire in a triple threat match for both the Speed Championship and the North American Championship. And so, I think whoever wins whoever wins should just focus on being the North American champion, honestly. But I I know they're going to play up the fact that Zarya has been annoyed that Sol Ruka was both the North American champion and the Speed champion. I think it's pretty sad, as I said weeks ago about Zarya, that they're just doing a repeat with Zarya that they did as they did with Sol. I think that's completely unnecessary. I think Zarya needs to be her own woman and her own personality instead of copying a woman that she turned on. And so I don't want to see that. Brian, I don't think there's a chance for her to win. I think it'll be surprising if she does win. I was not expecting it to happen. Callie Armstrong, I see a strong chance of winning here. So I'm picking Callie to win both championships. I think they see a lot in Callie Armstrong. I think with her being the North American champion first before going after the NXT championship is kind of a smart move. So that's what I would do. So I'm picking Callie Armstrong to walk out with both championships. So that's me, CJ. What do you think?
This one tough. They're all tough, Kyle. So I just have to go off what I see on TV. Callie is still a little green. She was great in Evolve. Kendall was never, by the way, Kendall was never beat in Evolve. She beat Callie a couple of times over there. Callie's great. She's gonna be a mega star, an NXT champion, a women's champion on the main roster. But she just got the pin Tuesday. So I have to go back to Wrestling 101, whereas the person that wins or stands tall usually does not win in the PLE. Has it went the other way? Of course it has, because there's been thousands of PLEs, thousands of different results. But Zarya, and me and you talked about this a lot, they are trying to pattern this Zarya Sol Ruka thing. And, we talked about this a little earlier, about an hour or so ago on the prediction show. Sol Ruka is the last person to hold the women's NXT North American Championship and the Women's NXT Championship. They are 100% trying to pattern Zarya after Solrico. I don't understand why, but they are. I believe that is still a tad bit too early with Callie. I think that Zarya leads with both titles, and then there's still so many people left. Rena Vulcan hasn't been seen on TV. You can always run Zarya and Callie Armstrong back because Callie did get the one-on-one pinfall victory over her. So I mean, it could lead to more matches with Callie and Zarya because, like I said, Callie did beat her, but I do believe that Zarya leads Heatwave with both titles. So I'm going
And if she
Zarya.
pins, if Zarya pins Ren, then
Yep,
Kali
yep,
can say you never defeated me, and
yep.
I want that championship and all this stuff. So yeah, I can see that.
There you go. I 100% believe either way. Ren Sinclair, I believe, has zero chance to win.
Yeah, it's just sad because I like Ren, but it's just not, he's
Yeah,
just put
me
in a
too.
situation that
Me too.
he's put in a situation that isn't in our favor.
Yeah, of course. I mean, I love Ren, but at the same time, like, I do believe, like, whether it's Zarya or whether it's Callie, Ren's eating the pin. I think she is definitely eating the pin. Whoever walks out of Edinburgh, Texas, with the unification titles is pinning Ren Sinclair. So, but I think it's Zarya. I think you just kind of hit the nail on the head. I think Zarya pins Ren. Then maybe on NXT the next Tuesday, Callie comes out. It's like, well, you won the title, but I beat you last week. You still never beat me one-on-one, so I want to be next in line for that title. Boom, there we go. Extension of storyline. So I'm taking Zarya to leave Texas with the unification titles.
Yeah, well, we'll see. Maybe we're both wrong and Ren walks out as both champions. I doubt that, but it could
Never
happen though.
know. You never know. Never know.
But we'll see. I'll stick with Callie. You'll stick with Zarya, and we'll just see what happens. We'll come back here next week and talk about it. But okay, so last women's match is Jada Parker versus Natty in a submission match. Like I said, there's a little bit ago. Jada needs to win here. I think she needs to be the next challenger for the North American champion, whoever that ends up being, whether it's Zarya retaining or whatever. Let's just say Zarya retains. I think she should be the next opponent for her and all that stuff, and then go have a feud with Zarya if she retains. So I pick a Jada. This feud needs to be over with. I think Carmen and Nikita could do a lot better doing if they want to be a tag team. Fine. I think they're capable of holding their own as a team. Then sticking around with Natalia at this point is completely unnecessary for her to be a part of this. I just feel like it's good for her to help out the women over there, but I just feel like at the end of the day they need to figure out on their own how to develop their characters and all their to flesh out their characters and how they want to handle the characters themselves at this point. So I think they need to have Jada win here. And if they want to do Jada and Tatum, I'm not Tatum, but Thea and Nikita and Carmen in a tag match a couple times, then fine. But then after that, you need to move on and have Jada focus on a North American championship at this point, and let's get going with Jada Parker and as a credible, huge baby face in that women's division on NXT. So I'll pick a Jada here.
Yeah, I mean, you know, like I said earlier, I hate using the word lock, and I really try not to use that word anymore. It can't be anything else. I mean, Natty handpicked her. Natty got the first win. Jada won the second time, but it was kind of a fluke, if you really want to be honest, because Thea held through the towel in. Because Natty handpicked Jada, for this situation to super elevate her and to get her on that level that everyone knows she can be at. Because I do believe Jada is also going to be a megastar once she gets to the main roster. Um, Jada has to win here. There's if they go a different direction, I'm going to be visibly upset because how many more matches can these two ladies have? Natty's only there to put her over and to pull that character out of her that she knows is in there. Jada makes Natty submit, and he wins. Jada wins.
Yeah, for sure. So, but that's it, everybody. That will do it for this week's episode of Quiz WWE. Thanks everyone for listening. CJ, tell you where they can find you for what's coming up for you for the rest of the week.
Yeah. Thank you again, Kyle. For bringing me on as a co-host. I thoroughly enjoy this show. Definitely don't take it personal. But besides Scoop, this is 100% my favorite show out of all the ones that I do. But I absolutely love the show. I love being a part of it. Always great contact and I love the content and stuff that we're able to put on a show and not always see eye to eye, but we've been working together so long that it just worked perfectly. So thank you again for that. As far as where everybody can find me on my socials, obviously YouTube, which we are streaming live to right now. You can find me on YouTube. If you can't find it on my socials, which I will give you, you just go to the search bar and type in at the EVP show. You'll see over 1,000 live videos, some YouTube shorts, which I'm getting ready to make some from me and Kyle earlier from the NXT Heatwave predictions, and a couple pre-recorded. On X, you can find me EVP2JP. My YouTube is pinned all the way at the top. On the road to 400 subs. Let's help me get there, 75 away. Instagram, EVP2JP as well. TikTok, at Brady the Goat 21, at BRADYDA Goat 21, where you can find all my videos on Instagram and TikTok that Miami makes for my upcoming streams. What I have coming up next tomorrow night, I switch to reality TV. It is the Big Brother Season 28, Week 7 recap show. Tomorrow night live at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time. And then Friday, I'm back again for the SmackDown recap show at 10:30 p.m. Eastern Time on the EVP Show channel. And then I close out the week Sunday, not with Scoops, but at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. You can catch me live Sunday for the NXT Heatwave recap show. So that's it for me for the rest of this week. Like I said, I enjoyed episode 11. Can't wait till next Wednesday when we pull a doubleheader again. We have both doubleheaders back to back on this Wednesday and next. So yeah, it's been a great show. Hour and 30 minutes in, I think it was an absolutely phenomenal show. Can't wait for episode 12, my favorite number, next Wednesday. So looking forward to it. Thank you again.
Yeah, for sure. So you can find me on Twitter at Kyle Rochelle96, Instagram Kyle Anthony .96 as well, and you can see me on Monday for with the Roto Greg with to talk about Raw, the hour before Raw, to preview what's going on in that show, and I'll be back here next week too, like I said, for episode 12. So thanks for listening, and we'll see you